Good evening, everybody, and welcome to True Talk with my very self, Shola Oyebade, aka Mr. Mahogany. Shades of Ife has said we're ready, so it's good to see everybody joining. Just want to give it a few seconds while more people join us on this evening of your questions and your questions and me answering them. So anything events related, please. Um, I will try my best to answer it, and hopefully, after 1 hour of a great session, you'll be able to get all your questions answered, and we'll be able to help you progress in the industry, or just to give you some of the inside information. I can see that people have already started asking their questions. So I think my team will be assisting me. I think Wire is on board here, will be helping me out, making sure that I don't miss anybody's really important question. So everybody, welcome to True Talk. This is being hosted by myself, Shola Oyebade, aka Mr. Mahogany, and it's aimed at the events industry. We'll be having great guests throughout the week, weeks to come, the months to come. Sometimes it will just be me and you question and answer session. That's what we're going to do. So what I would like you all to do, this is an interactive session, okay? So if you've got a question, because I know Amil Events from Ghana had a question, and I like to bring you on live so that you can ask that question, whatever the question is, live in front of everybody, and then I will answer the question. So if you've got a question, please come on live now. Just ask to share your video with me, and I will definitely ask your question. It's good to see my friends from Ghana, like Events by Tia is here. I was just on her show over the weekend. We had a great show. Litty, you're here, so I'm not going to mention everybody because I don't know. I can see the questions coming in thick and fast, so I think it's time to get into the questions. So please, who's going to be the first person? Okay, Ebony Duke has sent me a request to ask a question, so I'm going to bring you on live. Please ask your question and I will answer it straight away. So while we're waiting for Ebony to come on and ask his questions about the event industry, please start getting your questions. Be prepared to come on live. Hello. Please introduce yourself and ask your question.
This is Francis Mboch, an associate of Mahogany in the Gambia.
And where are you calling from? The Gambia. This is Francis calling all the way from the Gambia. We'll do our pleasantries after the show. Please, Francis, what's your question?
First of all, I have a lot of potential models asking me about how credible model contracts when it comes to signing with agencies that are outside of their jurisdiction.
Okay, so can I just stop you here? Tomorrow we're going to do Mahogany models, and we're going to answer questions about modeling. So tomorrow you can do that. This is purely about events today.
Oh,
that's all this subject is about. It's tomorrow, which is about Mahogany models. So I'm going to say bye to you now, and we'll catch you with those questions tomorrow. Okay. So this is Francis from the Gambia, people.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So if you can please, we're ready to ask them. While we're waiting for that, let me say Amil Events from Ghana. She says, I'm an upcoming event planner and stylist. Please, what are the do's and the don'ts of the industry, and kindly offer guidance? Well, that's a very, very broad question, okay? So what I really want, guys, is very specific questions, because that question alone, I can talk about it all night. But in some summation, you need to talk about, for your business, you need to know what kind of businesses you're in. What's your specialty? So are you a decorator? Are you a wedding planner? Are you a caterer? Do you provide sound? Do you do lights? And then acquire knowledge about that. Make sure your customer service is fantastic, because there's a lot of competition out there. Make sure you get your pricing structure right, because once again, there's competition out there. If you're too expensive, no one's going to want to book you. At the same time, if you are too cheap, you're not going to make any money. All right. So you got to get that balance right as to what you want to do. Do collaborations, find people that you can work with, that, that you can partner with, that you can do jobs for them, they can do jobs for you. Collaboration is important. I've never understood people that work within the event industry and think that they can do absolutely everything 100% by themselves. It doesn't work like that. So people, please work with people, share. If your questions are very specific, you'll get a more very concrete answer. So, Emil, if you do come back with anything specific, I'm very ready to answer it again. Sorry, it's very broad, but your question was quite broad. So I wasn't sure what aspect of the event industry you really wanted me to concentrate on. So I'm still looking for more questions to come on board. Please, we want some people to come on live. Show your face. Don't be afraid to ask a question. Talk to everybody out there. You never know who looks at you, who hears your question, might say, oh, is that what you do? Please let me come on board. Let me book you for something. All right. This is a business that we're aiming to share information with. We're looking to create collaborations. We're looking to grow the industry. I've seen people on here from Ghana. I've seen lots of my Ghanaian friends. We just had somebody on from the Gambia. I've seen some of my friends from, of course, Nigeria. I've seen people from England. So we got people from across the world. And nowadays it's an open market. You don't know who is going to book you at any particular time. So I'm still waiting for more questions to come in. Please, this is your session, guys. So I need your questions. I need you to please come on live. A Distinct is one of our partners. They provide sound for us. We've worked with them for many, many years. And if you're ever looking for a sound company that can give you the best sound ever, you definitely want to contact them and book them. Absolutely fantastic people to work with, and they work internationally. So they don't just work within Nigeria. Hello, please give us your name and your question.
Okay, good evening, sir. My name is DJ Fresh. I'm an event DJ.
Okay.
Yeah. Quick one, because I've been to most of your events, like the Fashion Finest, GTB, and all. How do you manage, considering cost and planning? Now, because I know setup will not be a day before when it comes to sound. How do you manage the costs? Because I know some of these things will need to be hired. Do you is there a set, like, do they charge per event or per day? Like, I don't understand.
So you're asking, if I've got that right, because I might have missed that. You're asking that if you're an event DJ, how do I charge, or how does an event DJ charge? Is that right? Is that what you're asking?
No.
Okay.
No. Not how an event DJ charge. How you manage, because I know you won't set up a day before your events.
Okay.
I know you've done the setup, they will have done rehearsals and all. So, costing like?
Okay. So I think I get what it is. So basically you're asking me that if I do an event, which is a one-day event, but I have 2 days of setup, that's 3 days in total. So how do I charge for that? Okay. Now, it's very important for people to know. I'm going to have to give you 2 ways, because there's people here from abroad and there's people here within Nigeria and Africa. It tends to be that within Africa, we have a fixed fee. So in other words, when a client comes to you and says, right, guys, this is the job I want you to do. You're going to have 2 days of setup. I'm going to have 1 day of event. When you give them your fees, you have factored that into the cost. So that means that whatever you charge incorporates your setup time and and your event time. However, when you're abroad, you charge per hour, which is one of the reasons why setup time abroad is considerably less. Do you understand? So you need to make sure that if you're in Africa or Nigeria and you're setting up DJ Fresh, the money that you have billed your client, is it enough to cover all your logistics costs, your staff costs, your time for those 3 days? Because you might possibly lose another event. So you've got to be sure about that. At the same time, you've got to be sure that it's not too expensive. Do you understand? Because if you try and charge them the same rate what you're charging for doing the event itself, as what you're charging for the setup days is not going to work. But a normal thing that people use is that imagine your charge to the client for the event is 100,000. What half of that price for each setup day? Okay, so that will just let you know that's what's normally done for setup, and that's how you charge. With charging in events, okay, because I know that a lot of people are going to be asking about how do we charge in events, how do we make money. I'm going to tell you this, a little secret, okay? There is no fixed fee for charging. There might be a little bit of a fixed fee if you're doing catering, because you can only charge maybe 2,500 per head. You can only charge maybe 3,000 per head for drinks. You can't suddenly come and say you're going to charge 1,000 naira for a bottle of Fanta. That's not going to work. But for those that are event planners, show producers, wedding planners, we can get away with not having a fixed pricing because we can actually charge you per event. And we can charge you sometimes, and this is a little trick here, as to how much how much money your client has. For example, I don't know, if I'm the richest woman in Nigeria, for example, or Gambia or South Africa, and you come to me and you say, you want to charge me the same thing as you charge somebody that you did a wedding for that doesn't have that much money. Does that make sense? All right. So you adjust according to the client, but then you can't overcharge. You also cannot cheat them. So you got to bear that in mind. Jocelyn asked, please, sir, do you train people in event planning and management? Yes, we do. Please send, Wire is going to post the details that if you're interested in training, please send us an email. We'll take down your details and let you know when the next training course is. Please, I'm looking for more questions. So if you got more questions, please let me know. Questions are supposed to be coming. I don't know what is going on with my internet at the moment, so we're having a little bit of problem with that. Another question coming from someone in Gambia. Okay, Ebony Duke, please fire away with your question. I'm sorry I got rid of you a few seconds ago, but you're my friend, you're my brother. I've known Ebony Duke for nearly 20 years, so he can't even get upset with me. So please fire in your questions. Guys, we've got an hour of non-stop questions, hardcore questions. This is true talk, all right? So please fire away with those questions. How do you build customer trust when you get to meet a new client? Okay, one of the best, this was from Shades of Ife, one of the best ways of building customer trust is to ensure that you have integrity when you meet them, you're honest with them, also that you're professional. So if a client says meet you at 10 o'clock, you're there by 10 to 10. You come prepared, right? Because when the client is meeting you for the first time, they're assessing you. So if you come in late, they're thinking, if this person is doing this for a meeting now, they're going to be late for my event. If they don't come prepared, so if they ask you a question and you don't seem to know, you don't have knowledge about what you're asking, they're going to say, oh, this person, nah, they're not serious. I'm not sure I can work with them. But if they can have absolute faith and trust in you, trust me, they will come back to you again and again and again. Let me give you an example. We've worked with some clients where when we first started with them, they were managing us. They were continuously on our case. Anything we do, we had to check it with them, cross-check it with them, double-check it with them, triple-check it with them. And we just were not getting anywhere. It was just so difficult working with them. Do you understand? But by the time we finished that event, they had so much confidence in us. They had so much trust with us that now when we speak with them, they just say, Mahogany, just do it. Let us know what you do. They don't even check things. We even are the ones that will come to the client and say, please check, please sign off. They will actually say to us, guys, if Mahogany has done it, if you guys are okay with it, let's move on. All right? We're fine with it. So it's about integrity, it's about professionalism, it's about knowledge. Look smart. I'm not saying you have to overdress, but look smart. Nobody wants to look at a client that doesn't seem to look, a vendor that doesn't seem to look smart, their staff doesn't look smart. Don't wear slippers. don't let your female, and if you've got a PA or your staff going with you, don't let them wear slippers. Wear a pair of heels. Look smart. Have your notepads. Have your pen and papers, and you'll be okay. That's how you start to build it up. Royal Rentals and Events, ask a question. Have you ever had a disastrous event before? If yes, how did you manage it? I don't believe, sorry, just before I answer your question, Royal Events, I don't think any event planner has not had a disastrous event. Wiry, I seem to be having problems with my internet. Emails don't seem to be coming in at the moment, so I'm just letting you know. All right, so in terms of your question, Royal Rentals and Events, I have an event. I'm not going to name the client, okay? It was a family fun day that we did. You know, difficult client, very difficult client. We were very stressed out doing the event. We had problems setting up because it was being done on the grass. So the tent was sinking, the marquee we were erecting was sinking, and we were having problems with that. I'm being very quick as I surmise it. Then also the generator packed up halfway into the event. The food was cold. It was the worst event ever. Let me tell you, for one, I think 2 weeks, I went into semi-depression. I was depressed because I don't believe in having bad events. In fact, it wasn't just me, my entire team. It took a lot for us to get over that event, but it does happen. But what we did was we sat down afterwards, we spoke with ourselves as a team, and we definitely said, guys, it is not going to happen again. What are the lessons that we've learned from it? And we have made sure that since then, those sort of mistakes will never and have never happened again. But yes, everybody has a disastrous event. Paul Oluwafemi says, please, sir, what other ways can be adopted to get a keynote speaker for an event when they haven't responded to a mail sent to you? This is always a very, very hard one for people. I have to be honest with you. We spend a lot of time when we're trying to get keynote speakers, when we're trying to get top artists to come and perform at our events. It takes time. So the one thing you should never do, Paul, is leave it to the last minute. All right. So, of course, you see, one of the problems that we have if you're coming from Nigeria and Africa is unfortunately this issue around fraud. So when these foreign people get their emails, and I'm not sure if you're speaking about foreign people or within Nigeria, people are never too sure whether it is a genuine request or it's not a genuine request. Even in Nigeria, a lot of people are extremely busy. They get a lot of requests to speak at different events. So what I would suggest is this. You need to find somebody that knows them. Try and make a phone call. Yes, if you can, go down to the office, drop, if it's not too far away, drop your information pack. Start phoning around and saying to somebody, do you know this person? Because that's what we do when we want artists. I'm looking for the agent. I'm looking for somebody. There's no point going to them direct because it's never really going to work. So I find out, do I know that person? Is there a third party that can introduce me? Then I use that third party. The only thing that you might need to bear in mind when you do use a third party is that they might say to you that if I book the person, you're going to give me a commission. But if you really want that person to work with you, then you may have no choice but to use that person to book them. Okay, so it's just one of those things that you might just have to bear. Okay, I hope I've answered that question. If I answer your question is not complete, please ask me a supplementary question, okay, so that I can make sure that you get the right answers. Because I really do want you leaving here with as much information as possible. We're getting lots of comments, so I might have missed some of the questions that we had before. So please, if somebody has a question and I've not answered it, please retype. But really, I do want people to come on live and ask your questions. Let's see you. You know, let's know who you are. So I'm looking for more questions. I'm not sure what's going on here, but I thought I'd be having so many coming in on my internet because I know some of you have been sending questions and are sending them to me by email. But for some reason, as technology can be as it is, it's the emails are not coming through. So Wari, if you're seeing the questions, I might actually need you to type them in the comments because they're not coming through. Guys, this is your opportunity. Anything and everything events. Are you all telling me that your events business are perfect? You're all making millions and millions of naira. You're not having any problems. You know all the secrets of the trade and all that sort of stuff. Ebony Duke is asking me a question. He says, what are the various events that Mahogany has the expertise to produce, considering that most people in this part of the world, pigeonhole event production as mainly for wedding and fashion shows? Very good question from Ebony Duke. What I can say for that is that there is a very distinct difference between being an event planner and being a show producer. Now, Mahogany is a show producer, all right? And I'm going to explain. Wedding planners tend to, in principle, organize the event from beginning to end, deal with the decor, the hostesses, the look and feel of the event, the invitations, the catering. You know, they tend to deal with a lot of the front of house stuff. But when you now go to that event and you're watching the event and you look in front of it and you look on the stage and then the presenter comes out, he knows what to say. The music plays at the right time. The screen shows a video at the right time. You understand? The music for people walking up to the stage comes at the right time. That is done by show producers. All right. So we tend to do that. So we put a lot of concerts together. We put a lot of big shows. I mean, you've seen some of our staff. I think we work with just about every single major artist in Nigeria, as well as foreign artists like Marcus Miller and lots of jazz artists, as well as other foreign artists like Joss Stone. We've worked with numerous international artists, as well as African and Nigerian artists. That's what we do. So we will make sure it's perfect. Have you ever been to an event? You're sitting down watching an event. They bring out the first artist, and then the artist finish, and then you're waiting for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes for the next thing to happen. And the MC is coming and saying, sorry guys, we're just having a few little bit of problems. We'll be with you very soon. The next artist will come out very soon. As if you have a show producer and they are good at what they do, that will not happen. Anybody that's been to my events will know that it goes back to back to back to back. We do not have breaks. If you give me a 2-minute break, if I'm on my comms, my team will hear me screaming and shouting, why is there a break? Why are we not going on? But as a show producer, if they now come back and say, we're having a technical problem here, the artist is not ready, they disappeared, as a show producer, I will make an instant decision to do something next so that there's not a gap. I might say, okay, tell the presenter to come on and to come and talk about the event, to come and do a little bit of quiz, to come and do a little bit of comedy while I use that extra bit of time. Because people watching the show do not know the event flow, they're just going to think it's just part of the act. Okay, so in a nutshell, that is the difference between what a show producer does and what an event planner does. Jocelyn M. Kona says, what's the best advice you can give to someone who wants to enter into the events business, especially when it comes to manage an event center? Okay, venue management is a completely different ball game, okay? If you want to manage an event center, the first thing you need to do, if you're not there yourself, is get yourself a fantastic facilities manager, somebody that can also book space. You also need to have a good office manager that can book the venue. And you also need to have a good facilities manager so that they can do all the maintenance, because you've got to look after, you've got to keep the venue clean, you've got to make sure the generator works, the toilets are always clean, somebody's always on hand to fix things straight away. Know what your competition pricing is like. So in your area, you can't come and say that, hey, you're renting your venue for 10 million and all the other venues in that area are 2 million. Nobody's going to come to you, no matter how great it is, unless you're trying to say that your event size is 20 times everybody else within your area. If they're not, then my suggestion is that's not the best thing that you can do. Yes? So I would just say to you, also join the venue. I think there's associations for venues. join that association. They'll give you tip. They'll make sure you obey all the laws of the land, any taxes that meant to be paid, and so on and so forth. Yes. So I'm hoping that I answered your question there. So make sure you have enough money. You have to also have enough running costs, because before you start to get your events, Jocelyn, you're going to have to be maintain the cost. People have to come in. If you can put light and sound in there, fine. But if you can't, as you go along, try and see what extra you can add to your facility that will make people want to come and book you. All right, that's something that you definitely have to do. I just wanted to add a little bit to say, look, we are a combination of show producers and event planners, because sometimes, yes, we how would I put it? Sometimes we also get a corporate client, for example, might come to us and say, Shola, we only want to deal with one person. Okay. So you are going to do everything. So sometimes we do the event planning side. We do social events. Like we have done weddings in the past. We have done birthday parties. We have a division that does that. So we have an event planning side, Mahogany Events, that does that. But we also have our production side that does show production. Jocelyn, if I haven't answered your question specifically, please add on some extras and I will do that. So Ben Watts, your question has been answered. So I'm grateful that I've answered your question. Right, so Shades of Ife again says, what makes clients, mostly couples, back down at the last minute of the planning with excuses that both their parents want a family member to handle it? Okay, some people don't know how to tell you that we don't want to use you. In some cases, that is the case. However, for some reason, when it comes to particularly wedding and birthday planners, there tends to always be that person. I'm sure many of you can testify to this, can say amen to this one, that there's always someone in the event in your family say, no, why are you giving all your money to that event planner? You don't know me. I'm an event planner. I go to so many parties. I can plan this for you. I can plan that for you. Leave it to me. I'll do it. And they want to take over the business, either because they want to eventually become an event planner themselves, or because they want the limelight, or because they think they're going to make money, or they genuinely believe that they should not give it to a third party. It happens a lot. So you will have that, but it's a numbers game. If you have enough people coming to you, you cannot win all the business. It just cannot happen. All right. So don't deceive yourself. If you get 10 people approach you for business, you might end up with 2 or 3. That is life. All right. So don't get stressed about it. Those same people, by the time they've started planning the wedding, 2 months before the event, a month before the event, they suddenly come back to you and say, listen, this my cousin that was planning the event has either disappeared or her stress is too much. Please come and help me plan the wedding. And you come in last minute and say, okay, no problem. Let me do it. These are my fees. Drop your money and you get on with it. Okay, so it does happen. It happens to all of us. Okay. Ben Watts, I'm not sure if this is a new question. What can I do to get clients to trust your brand and to pay you what you're worth? Very good question. We've had this debate within Mahogany a lot of time. When I first started, I must be honest, a client will come to me and say that they want to pay me a million naira, for example. And I know that the job is worth 3 million naira. But I was too scared to turn away the business. So what did I do? I took the million naira. I struggled to do the event. I didn't make any money. I got a whole lot of stress out of it. Was it worth it? As you build your brand and people know you for what you are worth, if your prices are reasonable, they will pay you. And what I'm going to say is like this. Okay, imagine, Ben, you have a court case, big court case, all right? You have the option. You can go to a lawyer that charges 100 naira an hour. He's okay. He's not fantastic. He's most likely not won any cases. Or you can go to a lawyer that charges 1,000 naira an hour. But you know that if you use that one that charges, 10,000 naira an hour, 1,000 naira an hour, you know that the chances are you're going to win your case. So if you have the money, you're more likely to go to the more expensive person because you want the best. You want to be well represented. It is the same in events. If you build up a brand name, If people have seen your events, if they've been to your brand events, if they like your events, if you are professional at all times, they will come back to you and pay you what you're worth. My gig, my general manager, I think she's online here. She's taken over finances because she said, me, I just give away my events for free, that we just work for free. And I used to say, she used to send in these bills that even my own eyes, they will pop up and my eyes will be like this, that, who is going to pay these things? She just said, Mr. Scholes, please leave me alone. Let me handle the client. Me, I quietly backed off and left it to her. And let me tell you this, 9 times out of 10, those clients come back to us and maybe with a slight modification, pay us what we want. So if you believe in your brand, Ben, if your brand is good, if you are professional, you provide a good service, they will pay you what you are worth. So let me see what other questions that we have here. Is there an association for growing event planners or event companies? Yes, there is. There are 2 main associations that I'm aware of. There's Appium, which is the Association for Party and Event Planners. Yes, so there's them. And there's also ILIA, which we belong to, which is called the International Live Events Association. If you want to give us the name, if Wire is unable to post it here, please feel free to send us send us a DM and we'll send you the exact name. But it's Appium, which is Association for Party and Event Planners, and there's ILEA, the International ILEA, International Live Events Association. Okay, so please join any of those. I was hoping that I was going to get a lot more people come online. Is everybody shy? But anyway, if you're shy, please continue to ask your questions. Ebony Duke has asked another question, and he says, what are the key elements that need to be... Sorry, what are the key... Excuse me, I can't read again. The question is, what are the key elements that need to be provided in a client's brief when they approach you to produce a show? I'm going to be honest with you, Ebony Duke. Most people don't actually, when a client comes to you, what they tend to know is they want to do an event. That's all they know. So they rely on you as the expert to tell them what is needed. And 9 times out of 10, they have approached 2 or 3 other people. And it is dependent upon what you say to them that normally seals the deal for you. So if you come in very knowledgeable, yes, and the other people that they've spoken to missed out some key things, we're not honest with them, because like we're honest with them about our clients. We had a client recently who approached us. They said they wanted to do a product launch, and they said they had something like 2 million naira, and we said there's no point. And they were bringing people from abroad. We said it's not going to happen. Just your stage alone might cost you that. But nobody else had told them that. Everybody else hoping to get the job. What they were hoping was they get the job. Then after getting the job, they'll now start to tell them, sorry, you have to add this, you have to add that, you have to add this. We went in there, we told them from the beginning, this is what it's going to cost, this is what you can do, this is what you can't do. And we got the job over all those other people. All right? So it's something worth considering about being honest, knowing your facts and figures, and not being afraid to walk away. If your client gives you a job and is not profitable, is not feasible, is going to be too stressful, say thank you, but no thank you. They might call you arrogant. They might call you every name under the sun. We've had that, but the clients still come back to us. Amil Events from Ghana says, can she join from Ghana? Send us an email or a DM, and we'll ask the associations, or we'll send you their details, and then you can contact them, and they will let you know whether you can join from Ghana or not. I do believe that Events by Thea, she has an association for vendors, so it's worth looking at that association. I don't know if it would deal with your needs, but Thea, Events by Thea may know who are your association in Ghana. So it's still just worth checking. Nimi Zulu, how long do you think it will take before the fashion industry to to pick up because people will be thinking of survival before clothing? It's a question we dealt with last week on Fashion Finance Africa. It's definitely a question that we're going to deal with on Thursday when we speak with David Talley, one of the biggest designers from South Africa. So, Nimi, if you don't mind, I want to deal with fashion on Thursday. So please join us at 8 o'clock at Fashion's Finest Africa. We're going to have David Talley. Trust me, that question will be answered. But in a nutshell, it's going to take a little bit of time, but it will come back. It will come back bigger. We got 200 million people in Nigeria. You got 25 million people in Ghana. We need to wear clothes. It's just that we may not buy as many as we have at the moment. Hey, DJ Abbas, my man, all the way from the London. DJ Abbas, guys, if you ever want to do anything in the UK and you need a company that can promote you, promote whatever it is you're doing, contact DJ Abbas. There is nobody that he does not know in the UK. He's got the place locked down. So for PR and publicity, all the biggest film premieres he does, Carnival he does, contact him. DJ Abbas is just joined, definitely. What about Association for MCs? Ben, I have to be honest, I'm not aware of if there is an association for MCs. If there isn't, I think you've just found a niche in the market. So it's definitely something that you might want to look at. I've got my Gigi on board here. So if she knows of any association, she will type it in here. Please throw in your questions. Any more questions you have, throw them in. So Wiry's just put it up there. It's called the Association of Professional Party Organizers and Event Managers of Nigeria. That's APIAM. That's how it's pronounced. And there's ILEA, ILEA, which is the International Live Events Association. All right. We are affiliated with America, so our rules and stuff are slightly different from APIAM. How do you plan a low-budget wedding when your clients want you to use some particular vendors for that event with the low funds you are trying to use to plan their event? Okay, Shades of Ife. Unless you are a magician, yes, and unless the vendors are agreeing to do the event at the price or within the budget that this client has, it cannot happen. It's a bit like you wanting to do an event, you want to bring Davido or Wizkid, and you want to tell them you only have 200,000 naira to pay them. Are they going to do it? I think you all know the answer to that. It is not going to happen. You need to be realistic with your client and say, listen, you want to use this particular caterer. The minimum that they do for a plate of food is 2,500. However, in your budget, the maximum you have is 750. You cannot use that person. And if you find it's just not being realistic, Shades of Ife, you need to walk away. Unless you've got a magic wand that you can make that happen, fine. However, on the other hand, let me do say this, yes, and it happens to us. My team have gone back to some of our vendors and say, listen, guys, I know your fee is normally 1,000 per person. This is a good client. We believe we're going to get lots of work. Can you do this for me as a favor at 500 naira a person? They might go back, look at their figures and say, Shola, because it's Mahogany, because you have given me lots of work, the least, that I can do it for you is 600. And you go back to your client and say, listen, I can do it for you for 600. The client might say, yes, I will take it. You've done two things. You've kept the client happy. You've also put yourself in a situation that client will go and talk good things about you and say, that guy, he worked magic. They are fantastic. They're this and that. You've given your vendor a job. Yeah, they may not be that happy, but you still gave them a job. All right. So don't automatically say no. But at the end of the day, if it's unrealistic, walk away. Please walk away from it. Emil, please, are there people that are coming on live? I can see the event industry. You guys, you don't like to come on live. That's okay, but keep asking your question. Emil Events Ghana says, please, what advice will you give to an upcoming event stylist and planner? I answered this right at the beginning. This was the very first question I answered. I don't think you were online at that time. Emil, can you please make this a little bit more specific? It's too general. So tighten up your question, and I will definitely answer the question for you. Yes? So they're asking me if Ebony Duke 50 says, what is the biggest show that I produced outside of Nigeria? Well, we produced a number of shows. We did Fella in South Africa, which ran for I think 2 weeks. That was an enormous production in where did we do it? In Pretoria. That was big. We do London Fashion Week, and I think that has been enormous. New York Fashion Week we have done, and then we did Top Model of Color in the Gambia, where we brought in 50 models and crew and staff into the Gambia. It was sponsored by the president of Gambia at the time, and we were 2 weeks in the Gambia. Oh, please, Gambia, bring me back again. That was a fantastic event that we did in the Gambia. So we've done a number of events in different African and European companies that have been big. We're still looking to do more. We're hoping that there was an event we were meant to do this October in Dubai. Some of you have heard of it. I can't remember the exact name, but the Dubai Expo or something like that, 2020. We were going to work on that. They've now postponed that to next year, so we're hoping that we'll still work on it next year. So yes, we've worked around the world, and we love what we do. Ben Watt said, I would seriously want to grow and be referred, if possible, we upcoming MCs. Now, Ben, let me just talk to you about MCs. Yeah, we have two types of MCs that we have, okay? And you need to decide what is your specialism. And I'm assuming that when you say MCs, unless I'm wrong, what you are referring to is you hosting an event. So you're the presenter, the host. I'm assuming that's what it is, as opposed to a music MC. Okay? So develop your talent, get a specialty. All right? Are you an MC for weddings? Are you an MC for corporate events? Are you an MC for concerts? So are you kind of like a MC stroke hype man? Are you an MC professional events for conferences? Get your niche. Once you know your niche, start to reach out to those people. Get yourself a show reel. Because the first thing I ask for, if I don't know the MC that wants to work with me, is they need to show me their show reel. I need to see them in action. All right. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to contact somebody they worked with and find out how was that person. Because I cannot take risks with an MC that is not very good, because my client will kill me, or somebody that I cannot speak for. All right. Because if I go to a client, the client's going to say to me, Shola, is this person good? When I say yes, I'm putting my neck on the line. So I need to be sure how good they are. I'm hoping that's the question. Once again, Ben, there's other people out there. Please, guys, giving your questions. I'm sure some of you have some questions that you want answered on the events industry. Ben says, what makes a great brand? What makes a great brand is reputation. For instance, now, when it comes to mobile phones, most people aspire for an Apple. Some will say, no, I prefer Android, fine. Or some will say, I prefer Samsung, fine. But you either want your Samsung or you want your Apple. As opposed to me, you want a Mr. Mahogany phone. Why will you not buy a Mahogany phone? Because it has no brand association. It's not known for excellence. It's not known for giving you what you want. All right? So therefore, you will first go with an Apple or a Samsung because they've built up brand recognition. They're known for excellence. They're known for delivery. They're known for saying that whatever they write on the tin, that's what's delivered. So if you want to build a good brand, you've got to build up excellence. You've got to be known for things. Ben, let me give you an example, yes? There have been many, many times when we have done an event. A client comes to us and says, we want A, B, C, and D. We give them A, B, C, and D, and then they come to us and say, right, but we now also want E and F. But they then turn around and say, but we're not paying you. But we want E and F. What's my choice? I can turn around and say, okay, if you don't pay me, I'm not doing it. The client might turn around and say, okay, fine. We'll pay you. Same money is your issue. We'll pay you. But next time around, they might say, I don't like that guy. Everything about Mahogany was just about money, 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 money. I don't like them. But if in turn I turn around and I say, I'm going to do that event for you, I'll take it out of my miscellaneous, I will cover the cost. And we have done it many times. That client, unless they're the most horrible client in the world, will appreciate you. And trust me, they will come back to you because they will say, Mahogany goes that extra mile. They are prepared to take from their pocket. We love what we do. And I can name client after client that we have done it for. And it has paid us because it meant that when they were meant to put some jobs out for tender, do you know they don't bother anymore? They just say, guys, we all know we're giving it to Mahogany. Please, let's not, I don't even want to deal with anybody else, Mahogany. I don't want stress. Go and give it to Mahogany. That's what building up a great brand is about. Integrity, professionalism, people feeling comfortable in you. All right? More questions. Very important to carve your niche in the industry. That's what Yemisi Peter says. Yes, I've always wondered, Yemisi, people that try to be a jack of all trades. You want to do weddings. You want to do social events. You want to do concerts. You want to do seminars. I have a very good friend of mine, Sinatra Events. Do you know what their niche is? Government events, seminars, and conferences. She doesn't fight for weddings. She doesn't fight for parties. But she has locked that space down. If you look at Sapphire events, for example, do you see them doing production? Do you see them saying they're going to do concerts? She knows what her sphere of influence is. She sticks with her weddings. She sticks with her birthday parties. If you come to her and say, please, I want to do concerts, she'll say, please, call Mahogany, call Eddie Lawani, call event engineering. She'll call one of the 3 or 4 production companies and say, please go and meet them. Worst comes to worst, if she takes the job, as she has taken the job, she's immediately calling one of us and say, please, I'm subcontracting the job to you. Do what you are good at. I will liaise with the client, you do the job. And we have done that for many, many, many jobs that we have worked on, where people bring us in, event planners bring in Mahogany to do the production side of it, and the event planners manage the event management side of it. Okay, so the model experience Lagos says, what to do when expenses overshadow budget, especially when it comes up at the last minute. Okay, one of the things that I found with a lot of event planners when they do their budget is they do not build miscellaneous into their budget. All right? As a rule, anything that Mahogany does, we try and build a 20% margin into our budget for miscellaneous. Guys, there is no way things will not crop up. If you're building a media wall and it collapses and you suddenly need to go and buy more wood, are you going to go back to the client and say, sorry, I've spent all the money you gave me on the first one. Come and give me more money. I have to go and build it again. It's not going to happen. All right. So you need to build miscellaneous into your budget. Absolutely essential. Anybody that's not doing that, you're going to have a problem. Most clients, however, if you put a budget line saying miscellaneous, they're not going to agree. So you kind of have to hide it within your other expenses, but you must have it. Things will crop up. Either your own vendor will mess up, the client will ask you for a bit more. You suddenly look at something and say, oh, that doesn't look right. I need to do something extra. So you yourself, just to make your job look good, will go and spend that extra bit of money. Okay? So please be careful, but at the same time, this is very important. If they're asking you to do something which is way and above, so for instance, now they've given you money to go and buy a Toyota, but they tell you to come and bring a Rolls Royce. It is not possible. So in a situation like that, you have to just say no, and if necessary, walk away. All right? Crowd Controller has just joined. Let me talk about Crowd Controller. We had DJ Fresh on asking questions before. Crowd Controller is our show producer DJ. He's actually a DJ producer. I'm sure some of you in the industry have never heard that, okay? So when he does events for us, he has 2 different roles that he plays, all right? Number one, he will play the music to entertain the crowd. But at the same time, as a DJ producer working on my events, because I'm a show producer, he has a script or a show plan that he has to follow. Within that, it has all his comments, what he has to do. So, for example, now, when he does Fashion's Finest Africa Awards, every time a nominee or a presenter walks up onto the stage, he has to play the music. Every time the presenter comes onto the stage, he has to play music, a particular track. So he has to cue the music in. He has to concentrate. He has to know that for this time, this is what I have to do. For that time, this is what I have to do. He has to know when to fade out, when to fade in, all of this stuff. It takes concentration. I've worked with other DJs in the past that tried to say they're doing show producers, and literally, I need to take over the decks myself and handle it because I'm pulling out my hair because I don't know what to do. So there's another aspect in that, guys. Those of you that are DJs, if you want to be a DJ producer, some of you know Crowd Controller, that he's one of the best DJs out there, but he has learned, I mean, he started with us, Chike, I can't remember, 5 years, 6 years ago on our first event that you worked with us. I think it was Lafarge, the awards and variety night. And I remember Peace sat with you throughout, telling you, play this now, play that now, play this now, play that now, play this now. Now, through that and through years, he has become one of the biggest DJs and DJ producers out there. So if you're ever looking to produce a show and you need a DJ producer, as well as one of the best DJs out there, Crowd Controller is definitely the person to get. Yes, my gig is a DJ, celebrity DJ, trust me. Endorsements with Budweiser, plays in Dubai, America, all over the place. Okay, so Amil Event says, please, what I'm trying to ask is how do I get clients to patronize my brand? Is it advisable to concentrate on fixing up a shop for a location? If you're an event manager, you're starting off, do not get a shop. Amil, do not waste money on a shop. 9, if not 10 out of 10 of your clients are not going to come and visit you. All right? They're not going to come. You can work from your bedroom in your house. Do not waste money on that. To build up your brand, what you have to do, start off with small jobs. When I came back, my first job I did, for those of that you may know, I did it for free. But I worked on a big job. It was Love Like a Movie. The first ever Diary Art Alade Love Like a Movie. Some of you would know it. I did it for free. Do you know that opened up doors for me? Once I was able to say, I project managed this event, this is what I did. I showed pictures, I showed evidence. Everybody wanted to come to me after that. So to get yourself started, you might do either a free event or you might do a heavily discounted event. Build up your brand. Build up your IG page. Make sure you're posting it on all your events on IG. Get people to give you testimonials. Get videos of what you're doing. All of those sort of things, all right? Do all of those. It will build up your brand. Once you start to do that, trust me, people will come to you. It takes a while. Also, have a niche, all right? Have a niche. That's very, very important. What's the difference between production and event planning? We have answered that again, but very quickly, event planning tends to be weddings, parties, front of house, hostesses, decor, catering, drinks. As for production, we tend to deal with backstage management, artists, making sure the graphics work, the media works, dealing with technical stuff, building up the stage, the light, production, the sound. Those are the sort of things that we tend to make sure it runs smoothly. So if you watch a show on TV and it's going from beginning to end and you think, wow, that was a great show, that is what we do. But if you come into a hall and it looks absolutely fantastic, you say, wow, that's the event planner. But Mahogany straddles both sides. We tend to do both event planning and production simply because a lot of times our clients give us both sides of the business. So please, those are it. We're soon coming to an end. God, an hour has flown by so quickly. I want to take one or two quick more questions. So Crowd Controller, 6 years you've been with us. Wow. I can't believe it. Oh, I've got someone that wants to take a live question. So I'm going to go back to Ebony Jute. This is what we wanted. Ben Watt said, is it possible to mentor me on how to be a great brand? I'll come back to you on that one. We've only got a few minutes left, Ebony Duke, so fire away.
Just a quick one. What advice would you give to young upcoming youth that want to be involved in show production with regards to purely talking about attitude in the work? Because we have an issue where a lot of young people come in and in their minds they've got the energy, they've got the passion and the excitement, but they want to have things to happen quickly. They want things to happen overnight, like magic, you know. They see Shola, they see the success, but they don't know the journey. They only see the glitz at the end of the journey. So what would you advise?
Well, there is no fast track to being good at what you do. I've been in this business for 38 years. It's taken me a long time. It's taken me a lot of heartache as well as good times and bad times. We've set up training. I know some people believe that once they do the training, that's it. They can now go on and compete with a Mahogany or Eddie Lawani or any of the other big show producer companies out there. It doesn't work like that. Because there are things that happen to me that people cannot, you learn for experience. For example, we did GT 2 years back. In the middle of the show, the lights cut out. What would you have done? But through experience, and because I know what to do, I made an instant decision. There and then, I cut the show down. I had my comms on. I told my team, do not send out any more models. We're going to start this show again. I fixed the problem with the lights, and I started again. Other people might have kept the models walking, wouldn't know what to do, start crying in the background. God knows what would have happened, but we didn't do that. So I'm going to say to people, put in an internship. If you've got any sense, go and work with somebody. Don't work with them for 3 months, 6 months and believe you know what it takes. Spend 2 years because different events have different problems, different scenarios, different solutions. Spend a good 2 years, 3 years. Once you've learned the skills, then you can start off small. And then starting off small might be saying to whoever was working with you, can I do some of your jobs? This is the area I'm specializing in. Okay, so that's what I'm going to say to you. I hope that answers your question. I've got just 1.5 minutes left.
Perfect.
So thank you very much for that, Francis. Francis, all the way from the Gambia. He also is the CEO for Mahogany Models there. He takes care of all of our interests, and he was one of the people that was instrumental in bringing us to Ghana. I'm sorry, to Gambia back then. He was also a former minister in the Gambia. So these are people, and he runs events and everything. So this is a man that has many different hats that he wears. So Francis, thank you for that. I've only got 1 minute left, so I just want to round up to everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Shola. Thank you, Shola.
Okay, everybody, our time has fast approached. I've got less than a minute, so I just want to quickly round up. I hope you found it useful. If you guys want me to do another question and answer session next week, let me know. Or if you've got a topic that you think we should cover and a guest that you would like to have, please throw it out there. Let everybody know about it. Tomorrow, I'm live on Mahogany Models, and we're going to be talking about modeling contracts. On Thursday, for Fashion's Finest Africa, we have got the one and only, and you know he's